Hello everyone. As you may know, smart contracts are coming to Polkadot, and this time Polkadot wants to impress not just with the technology but also with the amazing developer experience. To that end, in this video, we'll be demoing the new smart contracts DevContainer. But before we look at the demo itself, let's first look at the current way of developing smart contracts on Polkadot. So you'd probably need to go to the documentation, choose your development environment. In this case, let's say Hardhat, and then you'll have to follow this extensive guide to start developing smart contracts on Polkadot. This includes compiling a few binaries, changing a lot of configurations, adding a few optimizer settings, creating accounts, loading them with tokens through faucets, and then eventually deploying and testing your contracts. But with this dev container, it is either one click or one command away. So let's see how we can do this in GitHub code spaces first. So all you need to do is click this button, use this template and open in a code space. And then it will start setting up the entire code space for you. Let's also do this parallelly in a local environment while this sets up. So to do this in your local environment, you need to have Docker Desktop installed and running, and you need to have the DevContainers plugin in your VS Code installed as well. So I have my Docker Desktop up and running. Let me pull up my terminal. So we'll start by creating a directory first. I'll call it my project for now. We'll cd into the directory, and then we'll just run the curl command that is present in the documentation here. So you'll see in the quick start, you have this curl command. We'll just copy this, go back, paste it, and that's it. So this command is curling just the .devcontainer directory from this GitHub repo. Then we just open it up in VS Code. We won't need this terminal anymore, so let me get it out of the way. Here I have VS Code open. I'll move this video to here for now. You'll see this button pop up if you have the DevContainers plugin installed, and then all you need to do is click reopen in DevContainer. You can click this button to see the logs of the DevContainer image building and then eventually starting up the container itself. It'll take a few seconds, but then you should see a prompt like this where it'll tell you if you want to have a Hardhat project or a Foundry project. Let's go with the Hardhat one for now because it has much more configurations. So I'll just click H, and it's starting off with creating all the template files and initializing the npm project. If we have a look at this dev container directory itself, it has the Docker file and a bunch of helpful scripts that are run as part of setting up the dev container. So the first script that runs is the setup dev container, which checks if it's an existing Hardhat or Foundry project, and if not, it gives you an option to set up a Hardhat or Foundry project. Based on what you select, it runs one of these init scripts, either the Hardhat one or the Foundry one. So since you selected Hardhat, it'll run the init script for the Hardhat plugin. It initializes an empty npm project, installs the latest version of the plugins and the Solc 0.8.28 as well. It initializes the Hardhat Polkadot package, creates a directory called bin where it'll download the binaries. It downloads the dev node binary and the eth-rpc adapter, and then gives executable permission to the binaries. The next script that is run is the setup key pair. So here we use the subkey binary to set up a new account for you at the time of first attach itself. So in a minute, we'll see that pop up in the logs here. Okay, so we had to wait for about a minute or two, but it has downloaded all the binaries as you can see in the logs, and it has set up the entire project for us as well. So right now it's at this stage where it's asking for a private key for deployments. So if you have your own account and just want to reuse it for your deployments, you can just paste in your private key here. It'll use npx hardhat vars to set up your private key so that it's not in the same project. So in my case, I don't have an account, so I'll just click enter and it'll create a brand new account for me using the subkey binary. It'll also log the public key of the account and the faucet link so that I can fund the account with some tokens. So I'll get this account, open this faucet link, I'll paste in the account, and we'll get some pass. And that's it. No more fiddling around with faucets and chains. So we come back here. Let's try to run a few commands. I'll do npx hardhat compile. And as you can see, it just worked out of the box. Let's try and run the tests as well. As you can see, the tests ran and they're all passing. So as a developer, all you really need to care about when you're using the dev container are these three directories: contracts, test, and ignition. You'll put your contracts inside contracts, write tests for them inside test, and then your deployment scripts in the ignition modules. And that's really about it. Everything else comes configured out of the box. Let's try and run a node. The node is up and running. Let's copy the deployment command from the README and deploy it to this local node. And that's it. Since we funded the account in the beginning, we can even deploy it to the testnet itself. Let's try and do that. So instead of local node as the network, we'll use the Polkadot Hub testnet as the network. And that's it. This contract was deployed to the Polkadot Hub testnet without us having to write a single line of code. Now let's check up on the GitHub Codespaces instance. As you can see, it's exactly where we started our local instance as well. You choose Hardhat here or Foundry or whatever, and then it'll be the exact same process of setting this up. So that's it for this demo. Try out the dev containers and use any established channel to send any feedback our ways. Thank you.